What if a military base explosion could shake the peace of an entire island? And what if thousand-year-old flower become the soul of Japanese summer? Hello, I am Mary Carmen, and in this week of Japanese news with Mary Carmen, I'm bringing you six real stories from Japan that will surprise you, move you, and maybe even inspire you. But before we begin, let me say this. I'm not a journalist, I'm not a reporter. I'm just a curious person who loves Japan, and every week I gather the most relevant and interesting news so I can sit down here and simply talk to you about them. This isn't your typical newscast, it's a weekly connection to the culture, the heart, and the future of Japan. ニュースをお伝えします。And today we are going to start with the Kadena Air Base explosion and Okinawa is demanding answers. The fire that broke out at Kadena Air Base in Okinawa on June 9 continues to stir tensions between the Japanese government and the United States. This week, new reports suggest that the explosion might have been caused by poor maintenance of underground fuel storage tanks. According to witnesses, it all started with a strong chemical smell and thick black smoke rising near the maintenance area. Just minutes later, a loud explosion rocked the base, and flames shot several meters into the air. The fire lasted more than 2 hours, and thankfully no casualties were reported, but families living nearby were temporarily evacuated as a precaution. Local residents are now demanding transparency and safety guarantees, especially because Kadena is located in a densely populated part of the island. Japan's Ministry of Defense has formally requested explanation from United States authorities, while civil groups are organizing protests to call for a reduced American military presence in Okinawa. These incidents had brought again a decades-long debate. How much does it cost to live besides foreign military bases in Japan? And let's move to news that are eco-friendly. Japan announced subsidies for sustainable homes. This week, the Japanese government unveiled a bold new plan to promote eco-friendly housing and cut down on carbon emissions. Over 200 billion yen, roughly 1.3 billion American dollars, will be allocated in subsidies for homes that adopt energy-efficient technologies. This program includes support for installing solar panels, improving thermal insulations, and switching to low-consumption appliances. The goal is clear: reduce Japan's greenhouse gas emissions by 46% by the year 2030, in line with the country's commitment to the Paris Agreement. At the same time, the initiative is expected to stimulate the local economy by encouraging the use of domestic materials and creating more jobs in sustainable construction. Experts have praised the program and also have talking about the importance of making the application process simple and accessible so more families can actually benefit of this program. A greener Japan may begin one home at a time. And what is going on with Osaka Kansai 2025? Sadly, areas were shut down due to a Legionella bacteria. Expo Osaka Kansai 2025, one of Japan's most anticipated international events, is facing criticism this week after Legionella bacteria were detected in the water systems of two major facilities. Authorities have temporarily closed the Water Plaza and the Forest of Tranquility areas after water tests revealed elevated levels of the bacteria. Legionella can cause a serious type of pneumonia and typically grows in poorly maintained water systems like fountains or air conditioning units. So far, no infection had been reported, but Expo officials have activated emergency cleaning protocols and says that zones will remain closed until the risk is fully eliminated. The news has sparked concern on social media and among early visitors, especially since the expo is still in the initial stage. Japan is globally known for its high sanitation standards, so an issue like this quickly draws attention both domestically and abroad. Now the big question is, can the expo regain public trust before its summer's peak? We'll see. And let's move to the space. Japan launched QPSR satellite for environmental monitoring. Japan continues to expand its presence in the space, this time with the successful launch of QPSR satellite, which took off from New Zealand. The satellite was developed by IQPS, a startup based in Fukuoka, and it's part of a growing constellation of compact satellites designed to observe Earth in high resolution, even at night or through clouds. Using advanced radar image, QPSR will help detect environmental change, monitor disaster zones, and even track illegal activities such as deforestation. One of its main goals is to deliver fast, accessible data to governments, researchers, and emergency responders. This launch brings IQPS one step closer to its vision, a network of 36 Earth observation satellites capable to updating global image every 15 minutes. Japan isn't just exploring space, it's using space to protect our planet. And this next news make me extremely excited and just bring my inner child. I'm talking about My Neighbor Totoro, Tonari no Totoro, returns to theaters on its 37th anniversary. A round shadow among the trees, a furry creature waiting in the rain, and a film that shaped the childhood of millions, including mine. This summer, My Neighbor Totoro, Tonari no Totoro, is returning to theaters across Japan to celebrate its 37th anniversary since its originally release in 1988. The legendary Studio Ghibli is hosting special screening in movie theaters as well as open air showing in parks and cultural venues through the country. The event is part of the Read Ghibli project, a nostalgic initiative to bring the studio classics films back to life for new generation of children and adults who still believe in wonder. Totoro, created by Hayao Miyazaki, is more than just a beloved animated character. He is a symbol of innocence, our connection to nature, and that quiet magic hidden in everyday life. In a fast-paced world, maybe watching Totoro again is exactly the pause our hearts are looking for. And to the last, I'm going to talk about the lotus flowers bloom in Japanese temples, beauty and spiritual reflection. In Japan, summer doesn't just arrive, it blooms. On June, Buddhist temples across areas like Kyoto, Nara, and Yamaguchi begin to fill with lotus flowers, one of the most sacred plants in Asian spiritual tradition. Their soft pink and white petals rise gently from still ponds, creating scenes that feels almost otherworldly. The lotus symbolize purity, enlightenment, and spiritual rebirth, a flower that grows from the mud yet blooms untamed. Many visitors arrive just after sunrise to witness the movement of the flowers open, as they only bloom for a few hours each day. On social media, these sacred temples gardens have become a quiet trend, not just for photography but as a peaceful space for reflection, meditation, and spiritual pause. Japan lotus flowers remind us that the peace can also bloom when the heart is ready to receive it. And that is for today. Thank you for letting me share these 6 stories from Japan with you. This isn't your typical newscast. Here we celebrate culture, reflect of the present, and dream about the future. If something moved you, surprised you, or simply made you smile, let me know in the comments or on social media. I would love to hear from you and knowing which part of the episode touched you the most. Subscribe if you haven't yet, and feel free to share this episode with someone who loves Japan as much as you do. I am Mary Carmen, and this was Japanese News with Mary Carmen. And I'll see you next week with more real stories from the land of the rising sun. ニュースをお伝えしました。